Rival fans can laugh at us all they want, but second place is secure. Champions League football is secured. We don't have to go into the final day thinking about how other teams are doing. We can sit back, enjoy some good football. So we're going to be discussing the game, discussing what people are saying, and looking at what John Obi Mikel in particular said, which was quite funny. But before I begin, if you are new here, please hit the subscribe and the like as well. It would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, let's start with the Arsenal game. Not the most vintage game. 1-0, just one of those where you get the job done. A game of two halves, really. First half, Newcastle were better than us. That's the truth. Second half, we turned it on and Declan Rice scored a beautiful, beautiful goal. And yeah, well, second again, it is what it is, and we just have to keep on moving forward. But let us now look at what John Obi Mikel said when asked about Mikel Arteta. And it's just so ironic. Have a listen to this.
He spent 700 million
to 800 million he spent.
No, is that a lot over 6 years?
That's a lot of money over 6 years.
He spent $1 billion in one season. Break it down, that's 34 players, 28 purchases, the rest on loan, over 6 seasons. It's actually not that much when you break it down like that.
I know that when you talk about us spending $1 billion, yes, we're in a transition period. We have managers come in, managers go. They're bringing in their players.
Ooh, that was embarrassing from John Obi Mikel, I'm not going to lie. It was absolutely destroyed by the lady there. She put very good points across there. When we look at Chelsea, they spent £1 billion. Could you imagine if Mikel Arteta was given £1 billion to spend across this season? The players he could get, the quality we could bring in, the levels we could go up. And he has the audacity to say that 600 million or 700 million in 6 seasons is a lot. That is nothing for a team that want to win the Premier League. City have spent 250 million from January and they're going to spend another 250 million in the summer. That's already $500,000 and only 200 million less than Arteta in his whole tenure. I know that's a lot of numbers, but it's the truth. And then John Obi goes on to say, we have managers coming in, we're in transition. That is not a good thing, Mr. John Obi. Massive respect to your career. But using that as an argument just goes to show how clouded the Chelsea fans' minds are. You cannot use an excuse for spending £1 billion on the fact you have managers coming and managers going. Arsenal are in a better position than Chelsea, and that's the reality of it. And they can sing, dance, shout and go at Arteta. But for me, I feel like this is the season now. We've been saying it now, 3 years on the bounce second place. It has to be now. If we have no injuries, nothing, it has to be now. But the fact that a Chelsea fan thinks they can come across and say we've spent too much money is just ridiculous, to be honest. A really, really poor take there. And to be honest, the young lady there did absolutely show Johnny Obi Mikel how to use a brain. It just made me laugh to see that he was able to even make the argument that Arteta and Arsenal spent a lot of money whilst being a Chelsea fan. But anyway, now let's get on to Newcastle fans, because there's been a lot of arguments and fights between us and Newcastle fans. Let's just look at how they reacted after the game and their fans.
Trophy winner, you daft cunt. Yeah, there's the first fucking bite from that daft cunt. Yeah, we're getting another bite off these. Yeah, because we're going to win the trophy.
Weird bunch, Newcastle fans. I have massive respect for them. When I talk about their club and their players on my second channel, I think they're a fantastic team. But some of their fans are quite weird. They like to make this rivalry with us Arsenal fans, to be honest. And I don't know why, to be honest. I don't know why they've manufactured this rivalry. And I wanted to ask you guys, what is a better season? Newcastle finishing in 3rd place and getting a Carabao Cup spot, or Arsenal finishing 2nd and getting the semi-finals of the Champions League and the semi-finals of the Carabao? Would you have been more satisfied finishing 3rd and going to the final day, but we get a Carabao Cup, or what the scenario we are in now? Because I don't feel like a Carabao Cup would do anything for us. Like, these Newcastle fans are shoving it in our faces. We've won a trophy, we've won the Carabao Cup. I feel nothing. I really, really do feel nothing. And maybe that just goes to show that we're nullified and I have the wrong mentality. You guys can prove me wrong. But I would be disappointed if we had a season like Newcastle had, and it just shows the different standards of the club. Like I've said, massive respect to Newcastle, but their fans are really cocky. They're always laughing at us, always saying, there was talks at the beginning of the season that Newcastle were going to finish above us. All of these different silly things that have been coming out, and the fans are now on Jupiter for some reason. But in the day, we won. We're cementing the 2nd place. They can laugh at 2nd again, but they haven't finished as high as that in 30 years, I think it is. So it is what it is. But now let us get onto the rival fans. You know, not too long ago they were saying title contenders Arsenal are now in the top 5 race, laughing at us. You know, everyone loves to take a dig at us, loves to laugh at us when we're in a bit of a rut. We went so hard for the Champions League, and obviously our league form dipped, which is very disappointing, and there's no excuses for it. But why am I seeing fans in 16th and 17th place in the Premier League laughing at us for being in a top 5 race? They would instantly swap places with us for the season that we've had, without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. So I don't see why they think it's an opportunity to laugh at us for even being in a situation where we were still comfortable, to be honest. Even if we had drawn to Newcastle today, we'd only need probably a point again next week against Southampton or a win, and second would be ours. That's the reality of things. But there's just clicks, there's just views. Whenever you can laugh at Arsenal, there's a lot of views and clicks you can get. And I think the funniest thing is this by a Newcastle fan. Remember what I said about Newcastle fans being so obsessed with us for some reason? They made a spreadsheet that showed how Arsenal will not get into the top 5. So here it was: Fulham to lose to City 4-0. Villa to beat United 2-0, Newcastle to beat Everton 2-0, Chelsea to beat Forest 2-0, Arsenal to lose to Southampton 1-0, Newcastle to beat us 2-0. It's just ridiculous. Just look at all of those different spreadsheets and in different ways in which they've seen us not being able to get into the top 5. It is peak obsession. I'm sorry to say this, Newcastle fans, this season, you guys have definitely shown peak obsession with us. Yes, you're a top side, but your fans, you know, be humble. That's what I'm going to say, you know. Be a bit humble. Enjoy the ride you're on. You're going to be really successful. You've got a good manager. You've got a good squad. But, you know, don't act weird on the streets and on Twitter thinking you're at the levels and the caliber of Arsenal, because you guys aren't. And yeah, this is where I wanted to ask you guys. Let me know down below. Second, CL football again. Got to the semis in the UCL. Carabao semi-finals, of course. First round of the FA Cup was poor. But how do you view this season and rate it out of 10? I want to see all of the comments down below. I'll be having a look at them. For me, a 5 within the context of the season and the injuries. It's a 5 out of 10. We could have very easily completely fallen off and finished 6th, 7th, 8th. Mika Marino coming into the 9 role and performing for a bit was really lovely to see. We saw Arteta try different ways. Martinelli resurging to form towards the end of the season is great to see again. There's positives to take from it, but I would put it 5 out of 10. And there is big pressure on Arteta now to deliver next season, bring the trophies, because it needs to happen. Just to end off here, Arsenal in talks apparently with Brian Mbeumo. I really don't know how this would work. I'm interested to see the dynamics. Would it be Saka in the 8 and Mbeumo on the right wing? But good to see, you know, talks are progressing. This is from a good Arsenal source. Would you take Mbeumo? Feel like he's probably not a priority because he plays on the right. Can he play 9? Can he play left wing? Just a bit of a worry about how he would fit in. But can you stack up on quality players? Then do it. I absolutely believe that's what you should do. And as Mikel Arteta has said, make sure the ones upstairs do what they have to do. If it's Arteta who wants Mbeumo, get Mbeumo. And Kroenke even himself says we have a plan to invest, get behind winning and going better next season. We're delighted with how our sporting director will play an important role in this. So, belief, goodness. Go into next season with belief, and let's see how this transfer window unfolds. But that's it for now, and until next time, peace.